Episode 153 of Genius Take the Wheel. And Genius has the wheel. I am Dr. Evil Genius. And I am to work. Today's training session was curtailed and inhibited by my unpredictable stomach. And also, wasn't really feeling it today. But I found a reason to get into the gym today. And I'm glad that I did that. Right now, I'm hoping that I don't get bit by the traffic bug. That traffic on Tuesday was gnarly, really messed up a lot that I had going for my week in the middle of the week. All right, so I was only really able to get the 3 sets of 5 at 315 on the hack squat. My body is adjusting to the hack squat. Well, how heavy it feels. So I'm going to add the next 2 sets of 5, because I did 3 sets of 5 today. I'm going to go to 5 sets of 5 next Thursday, which will be my last day in the States for a week. So I have to figure out what I can and cannot do when I reach Germany, Berlin to be exact. So I did the 5x5. I did 3 sets of 5 on the hamstring curl at 170. That was really all I had time for. 3x5 and the 3x5. 3 sets of 5. Hack squat, 315. 3 sets of 5. Seated leg curl. Later on today, I have some vertical pull I have to do, and that'll get done. But you guys see the title. I'm pretty sure Mrs. Evil is probably in the comments about to say something. But yes, I am on my way to pick you up. So yeah, the ladies, sometimes Mrs. Evil, she likes to refer to her and the other wife as Thing 1 and Thing 2. We were at Citi Field last night. I think it was like the first time in a long time all 3 of us together went to a sporting event together. It's usually one or the other for various reasons. Usually because, when you have a pair of season tickets, only 2 can go. But, it is what it is. And a bunch of articles kept popping up in my feed referencing, him, being arrested and him being charged and the whole bit. Really, really funny stuff, like the way, because here's the thing, right? It's really crazy how it's really crazy how, and I was just saying this to Mrs. Evil, there's a saying that black people have in the black community, and it goes something like, everybody wants to be black, but don't nobody want to be black. And what that means is a lot of stuff gets, taken from black culture. Everybody wants to be a part of that. But when it, comes to the actual other people identifying you as black, they're like, not so much. Especially among the crowd that likes to try to sell us on, racism being a thing of the past. And so, you know, I noticed that noticed a couple of things at the ballpark. And while I'm reading these articles while I'm at the ballpark, I am watching the U.S. attorney. I didn't actually watch the video, but the video was there on the website. The U.S. attorney. Yeah, I knew that was you, Mrs. Evil. The U.S. attorney uh, basically reading off what the indictment was, and the way he did it was hilarious to me. Absolutely hilarious. And I'm not even ashamed to say how funny it sounded. I mean, they're talking about 1,000 bottles of baby oil, and they hear, and I swear I'm not trying to be negatively racist, but to hear this white man keep saying freak offs had me giddy. That shit was so funny. And I know, I get it. It's a serious matter. Um, but a lot of people very quickly, like the whole no Diddy uh, slang term, the colloquialism that came out. That's just hilarious. And then, like, it's also a weird thing too. Looking at some of the arguments that were made by the press, off of the claims that were made by Sean Combs's lawyer. Sean Combs's lawyer was talking about this detention center in Brooklyn that houses the the um, the inmates, or houses the people who have been charged with federal crimes. And Ghislaine Maxwell was there. If I'm not mistaken, Epstein was there. Um, uh, R. Kelly. I really want to say his full true name, but YouTube frowns on that word, if you know what I mean. And they've been talking about the assaults that have happened there, um, the self terminations that have happened there, and I think they were complaining about the inhumane conditions that he is being held in. And one of the funny things I saw is that I guess he wanted to establish some kind of goodwill with the court. So he voluntarily traveled to New York and then rented a hotel room because he just assumed that he would be out on bail and he was just going to hang out in a $1,500 per night hotel room, and it was going to be all good. Oh my God. So I don't know what happened to his reservation, but it looks like that room will remain empty. But they held him without bail, and they held him without bond. Their claim of why they held him without bond is for two reasons. One, he is considered to be a flight risk, and two, adjust the angle here, and two, uh, they say he had been in contact with witnesses. Now, that does sound like something that he would do. But what I didn't bank on is the accusations that have been levied against him, in particular with one male witness, where apparently he called this male witness 53 times. What the hell? I mean, Diddy, leave that man's cheeks alone, bruh. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson, who, when he is not trying to police the penises of other black men and trying to scare them from being passport bros and all of that, um, um, he puts out some extremely funny content. Extremely funny. And the thumbnail on O'Shea's video, um, he had his editor make a thumbnail, and the stone etching at the entrance of the correctional facility called it Cheek State Penitentiary or something like that, or correctional facility or something like that. Oh my God, that thumbnail had me fucking rolling. Oh man. And he put up in his community tab, which you can't see the community tab on the, like, wait, maybe you might be able to see community tab on desktop, but you definitely can't see it on the Apple TV. They should allow that on the YouTube app, because it'd be cool to see some community tab stuff. A lot of content creators that I've seen, put up cool stuff that, maybe are not really comprehensive enough to put in a video. But he put up a screenshot on his community tab, and it was of one of these unaccountable black men complaining about people holding P. Diddy and black men like him who are, accused of serious wrongdoing. And the thing is, it's not like, the feds are going just off the testimony of people. They said they've got thousands of hours of videotape of these freak offs. He just kept saying that shit, man. Anyway, oh man. Um, the dude was complaining about, how, it's always black men trying to tear other black men down and all this garbage. And my thought was exactly what O'Shea was. I think the guy said something about, I think the guy said, black men always, attacking other black men or something like that. And O'Shea's response was, but you wasn't saying that when Diddy was attacking other black men from the back. I was like, yo, that's, I wouldn't have said it that funny, but that was pretty much exactly what um, my thought process was on that. Like, people were doing the whole free R. Kelly thing. I thought that was beyond gross. We talk about how, everybody always, toes the party line when it comes to, let's say, abusing minors, right? Everybody toes the corporate line. They say, the magic words that everybody is supposed to say, and then they say something differently with the choices that they make. And so, I've been hearing all my life about how everybody hates a certain kind of child abuser. I'll let you guys figure that for yourselves. Um, people say that they hate a certain type of child abuser, and but whenever they have been um, confronted with evidence that somebody famous has abused a child, all of a sudden it's free R. Kelly. Oh, they make every excuse in the book. Where was her parents? And then there's the famous Riley Freeman line. If I see somebody peeing, I'm gonna move out the way. Which, in the Boondocks, is kind of like a symbolism for everybody making all these excuses for why Mr. Kelly, first name Arpist, why his actions are everybody else's fault, and we should give him a pass because he made these songs that people like, probably while he probably thought up these songs while assaulting some kids, but people don't care because they like the sounds that come out of the speakers, which is why I really just can't take anybody seriously. um so Mrs. Evil is about to get picked up. So I'm seeing all of this. Oh, you guys are just picking on another black man. And it's like, no, like, number one, he did it to himself. That's number one. Number two, um, number two, um, yeah, I see Mrs. Evil. Yay. I see Mrs. Evil. Yay. They say, hear no evil and see no evil, whatever, but that doesn't apply to us. So, um, you know what? I'm just gonna let you be an asshole. Mm-hmm. Yep. I know you don't agree with stop signs because you think your time is more valuable than everybody else's. All right. Mrs. Evil is here. I knew you were the only one in the stream. So yeah. Um there goes. I thought you were going to give me a high five. I'm like, you see, I'm driving with my hands at 8 and 4. So yeah, I just find that you see the hypocrisy start to come out. You know, one of the things I did not appreciate from our hometown third baseman Mark Vientos is that it seems that like not it just seems like him changing his walk-up music when he comes to bat. It seems like he changed it to Hushacha, and he's like he walks up to the intro to Hushacha, which is a Biggie Small song, but whose voice do you hear on that song? You hear Sean Combs, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Mr. Freakoff himself. So it's like, you know, I also remember too um a black MMA fighter, um right as you know all the stories were coming out about him abusing women. All of a sudden, I think it was it Chris Curtis? And I was a Chris Curtis fan before this. But, you know, when I see that people, people are really, people think they're slick, but they're not. They're not as slick as they think they are. Oh, I'm gonna, do my little quiet. Oh, I'm gonna have my walkout music be, his song. The only thing you're telling me is that you support the abuse of women and children. That's what I see. That's what I hear. I don't give a fuck what you say. Because nobody was playing P. Diddy songs until it came out that he was abusing women and abusing um Meek Mill's Meek Cheeks. I mean, O'Shea wasn't kidding. He was attacking black men from the back. So now everybody wants to show their allegiance. And again, I've always pushed back against the ethnicist, um, oh, we have our culture, you know, where we blame the women and we cheer on the men. I'm like, I've never heard of anybody cheering on men for violations of women. I've heard, some victim blaming. I have heard that. But usually, within the context of everybody is responsible for doing their best for their own personal security. Like, and we've said, in the hood, I guess this is a black people thing, I guess. But the way a lot of us black people see it is, if I went in the hood over to the projects where I know there are robber crews, and I go there in my drop top BM, with money, waving money in my hand, and I'm driving real slow, and I'm making sure that everybody can see my diamond chain and all that other stuff, if I did all of those things, people would not be surprised that I got robbed. They wouldn't say, stop victim blaming. They say, you're an idiot. You know not to drive slow through the hood in a late model luxury car. You know not to drive. You know not to walk around with a bunch of signed checks, you know, fat stacks of cash. And then, if you do that, then people are going to be like, well, you kind of did it to yourself. I remember seeing a video a couple months ago about this young man, I think in like Nevada, and his job was to empty out ATM machines and I guess bring um the money back to the company or whatever. So he would take the stacks of money out of the ATM machines and then he would pose with them like it was his money. And after some girls conspired to have him killed so that they can rob him, one of the things that the prosecuting attorneys said was he was told not to do this because doing so would make him a target. And it makes sense, right? It's just plain logic, right? But when you tell other people, hey, there's some things that you can do to make yourself less susceptible, not completely immune, but less susceptible to, different kinds of unsavory situations as a woman. Oh, you hate women for telling women that they're responsible for making responsible decisions. So, us in the hood, we have a good understanding. Like, there are just certain things that, you know, if you want to live a long life and not get robbed, there's certain things you should not do, like straight up. And so that is, the what we live by. I mean, when you were younger, because Mrs. Evil is here, when you were younger, were you told that, you had no responsibility toward your own safety and that it's everybody else's fault, or were you given instructions on what to do to stay out of?
There's a list of instructions.
Okay, she says that there's a list of instructions. So her mother told her that there are certain things that you um, should and shouldn't do under certain circumstances to get certain outcomes, right? Um, so yeah, I've heard every excuse in the book, um, and saying that people should make better decisions is akin to celebrating a violator, which I do not agree with. But then you actually have people out here talking about free Diddy. You have people out here talking about free R. Kelly. Ew, brother. Ugh, what's that, brother? It's nasty. It's disgusting. And another one of those things that make black men look bad unnecessarily, because the vast majority of us don't you know don't play with that kind of stuff. And another thing too, I wanted to say when it comes to people, saying, "Oh, they're just attacking another rich black man," just like R. Kelly, Sean Combs was allowed to engage in these behaviors unfettered for more than 25 years. Like, let's be real. Let let come on. Let's come on, guys. Like, if they, were just out to get black men, when he would have created Bad Boy Records, like they would have said, "Oh, there's a ninja trying to get rich out here. Let's put a stop to that right now." That's what would have been done. But that's not what happened. right? This dude, and another crazy thing too is there's a lot of people on the videotapes. There's a lot of people on them videotapes. Probably people who have, talked down on people that violate women and children, but they'll be there for the freak off. I think about why Sean was so willing to go to New York, knowing that he, was wanted or going to be charged or something like that. And I think it's because he assumed that the rich and powerful people that he had at his home for these freak offs, that they were gonna make it go away. No, I'm just gonna show up. I'm gonna rent this hotel room or whatever. The $1,500 a night hotel room. Could you imagine?
I've seen some of those when I was looking for a current trip.
Hmm.
Just to look at them and see what do you charge.
Did it look worth 1,500 a night? No.
They were nice, but
And he just thought, hey, it's gonna be all good. I'm gonna hang out here. It's just gonna be a dog and pony show because people can buy their way out of convictions. Guys, he made a critical mental error there, the same way a lot of black people just, not a lot of black people, but some black men are claiming that that there's nothing to this and they're just trying to, take down a black man or whatever. You got to understand something. When the U.S. attorney, when the feds are putting together cases against people, they're kind of like the Japanese system in that they really want a 100% conviction rate. So they will sit on an investigation for a really long time. And they will, and the thing is, they can believe that the evidence is good enough to get a conviction or whatever. But if they don't think that 12 members of a jury or a judge is going to agree with them, they'll just decline to prosecute. They want a 100% conviction rate. That's what they want. And they sat on this investigation for an extended period of time. And then they brought the charges for his cheek taking. And they're talking about like people. I think one of the things that they said was um, he forced people to do stuff with male prostitutes. Could you imagine? And the thing is, I there are some dirty ladies that are in that profession. I expect the men to be even worse. And I think that he forced men to also do stuff with other men that are not, of that persuasion. Like the feds are not. The feds are just not going to just whip something up based on your race without mountains of evidence, real or fabricated. They said there were thousands of hours and thousands of bottles of baby oil. Who could, yo, you can't make that shit up in a million years. Like bottles of baby oil and lube everywhere. The dude's mentally ill, yo. Like, could you imagine, right? You walk into somebody's house. There are no male sex workers. There's no, you don't see anybody. You just see 1,000 bottles of Johnson and Johnson. Oh my God. Are you running out of that? Are you running out of that place as fast as you can? Like seriously, yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. Absolutely insane. Yeah, I'm leaving immediately. I'm not sticking around to see because that's just a lot of baby oil. I'm sorry, I can't. Nope, not going to be able to do it. I'm good. Mm-mm. Goodness gracious. And again, when the inevitable trial comes, well, first of all, I'm not even sure there's going to be a trial because, I think there's a non-zero chance somebody might try to Epstein him. I, they said there are thousands of hours of footage of those freak offs. Who do you think is on those tapes? You think it's just black people? You think it's just rappers and TD Jakes, power bottom TD Jakes? Nope. This is definitely a street that needs to be torn up and replaced for real. Look at that. Like this street looks like it has herpes.
It's nice to see they are finally getting to it. It's just the time between syrup and
Yeah.
tar.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. I definitely want to know what people think of this. I just think that like if he does make it to trial alive, this is really gonna shake up the entertainment industry. I think the movie industry was shaken up in a way that I think was overall positive after the other Steen Weinstein. Yeah. Sorry, like I'm trying to figure out there was Epstein and there's Weinstein. Um, when he lost his grip on which women got Hollywood roles, apparently some men too, because he liked to dabble in men as well. Not really hearing as much about, people sucking and fucking for movie roles. And I think that is like the big takeaway for me from all of this. Um, I think that it would be a really great thing if, a music artist can get on because they're talented and a discussion. Um, you know, and another thing that I'm interested in hearing is because when he is convicted, other people who are more adhere to, we don't release information about other people, no snitching and stuff like that. There's going to be a contingent of those people who have had interactions with Sean Combs, and they're going to be like, "Yep, definitely, legit because they tried to get me to go to a party, or I went to a party and I saw this, I saw that." Um, you're going to start seeing a lot of people start telling, their stories that they're not going to tell until after the verdict, you know. And the part of me that likes chaos wants to see what the entertainment industry will be if he ends up getting acquitted, or there's a mistrial, or the case is dismissed or something like that. um yeah, like this is going to be a very interesting case that I'm going to be looking at specifically for the purposes of my own personal entertainment. And I'm going to be looking at the trial that way. I'm going to be looking at the reactions to the trials. Um, I really want to see how people are going to react to all of this. Are we going to see more hypocrisy from the Black community? Are we going to see most people finally stand up and say, you know what, he ain't like us, we don't support that, get him out of here, let him rot in hell, the whole bit? Are we going to get that finally? Right? Will some, obviously the evidence points to, according to the feds, the evidence points to, things not being consensual or whatever. But, I'm really interested in seeing like how all of this is going to end up, being seen, you know, how all of this is going to come out, how things are going to be handled by the court system. Yeah, I'm very interested. Anyway, I'm interested in what you guys have to say as well. Um, thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate you. And I will be around for episode 154 on Saturday. So thank you very, very much for watching. And I'll see you then.